It is afternoon, so I'm not going to say good morning. I'm going to do a reading in Shabbat Shalom. Today's August 19th. I'm going to do a reading from Streams in the Desert by L.B. Cowman. It's an older meditation book. And I know both of these, what I'm going to read about. 8 years ago, at the end of this month, I entered into circumstances that have trained me, that Abba has used to train me in the most impeccable way to control my emotions. It took a long time. I still fail every now and then, but most of the time I am measured, even, calm, even in the face of betrayal, deception, things like that. But reading this, I realized, and I already knew this because of the joy that I walk in now, even though I have been through horrible pain, I walk with a joy that is, unless I start thinking that I'm messing up or am I somehow not right with God, if I start doing self-examination, that's the worst thing we can do. We need to keep our focus on Messiah. And so as long as I do that, and He has full access to my soul and my will, there is a joy that is constant. And I don't experience the depths of the sorrow the way I was. Although I had a terrible loss in the last day or so with a couple of animals that just wrecked me. So that sorrow, it's not person sorrow, but it was still a grief. It's still a grief of sorrow. So, okay, I'm going to read this because I'm kind of rambling. August 19th. As sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. 2 Corinthians 6:10. This is a story, so it's like a picture story. Sorrow was beautiful, but her beauty was the beauty of the moonlight shining through the leafy branches of the trees in the wood and making little pools of silver here and there on the soft green moss below. When sorrow sang, her notes were like the low, sweet call of the nightingale, and in her eyes was the unexpected gaze of one who has ceased to look for coming gladness. She could weep in tender sympathy with those who weep, but to rejoice with those who rejoice was unknown to her. Joy was beautiful too, but his was the radiant beauty of the summer morning. His eyes still held the glad laughter of childhood, and his hair had the glint of the sunshine's kiss. When joy sang, his voice soared upward as the lark's, and his step was the step of a conqueror who has never known defeat. He could rejoice with all who rejoice, but to weep with those who weep was unknown to him. But we can never be united, said sorrow wistfully. No, never, and joy's eyes shadowed as he spoke. My path lies through the sunlit meadows. The sweetest roses bloom for my gathering, and the blackbirds and thrushes await my coming to pour forth their most joyous lays. My path, said sorrow, turning slowly away, leads through the darkening woods. With moonflowers only shall my hands be filled. Yet the sweetest of all earth songs, the love song of the night, shall be mine. Farewell, joy, farewell. Even as she spoke, they became conscious of a form standing beside them, dimly seen, but of a kingly presence. And a great and holy awe stole over them as they sank on their knees before him. I see him as the King of Joy, whispered Sorrow, For on his head are many crowns, and the nail prints in his hands and feet are the scars of a great victory. Before him, all my sorrow is melting away into deathless love and gladness, and I give myself to him forever. Nay, sorrow, said Joy softly, but I see him as the king of sorrow, and the crown on his head is a crown of thorns, and the nail prints in his hands and feet are the scars of a great agony. I too give myself to him forever, for sorrow with him must be sweeter than any joy that I have ever known. Then we are one in him, they cried in gladness, for none but he could unite joy and sorrow. Hand in hand they passed out into the world to follow him through storm and sunshine, in the bleakness of winter cold and the warmth of summer gladness, as sorrowful, yet always rejoicing. And this is the poem. Should sorrow lay her hand upon thy shoulder and walk with thee in silence on life's way, while joy, thy bright companion, once grows colder, becomes to thee more distant day by day? Shrink not from the companionship of sorrow. She is the messenger of God to thee. And thou wilt thank him in his great tomorrow for what thou knowest not now, thou then shalt see. She is God's angel clad in weeds of night, with whom we walk by faith and not by sight. This was very pertinent to me today. I am on one of the last few visits to this place that I've been working at, this farm that I've been at for 8 years now. And there is a sweetness and a joy knowing that I have fulfilled what I've been asked to do, that I have, to the best of my ability, followed my shepherd. And I have learned a great deal here on many levels of things that I would not have learned had I not been put in this kind of a crucible. And it's absolutely astounding to be able to finish up and know there's already another thing opened up for me, a stewardship of a place. So I am excited about the future, and yes, there's sorrow in the endings, but there's also an incredible joy, and I wouldn't trade one for the other. I definitely would not ever give up the sorrows that I've been through, because it makes the joy that much more deeper and sweeter and richer and absolutely unmovable as long as I keep my eyes on him. And I hope this blesses you today. Shalom.